What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a video on plugins again because people really liked the video that I recently did talking about what plugins I use on my vocals, and I just finished a song that I've been working on for about a week now, and I really like how the mix came out. So I am going to jump right into Logic. I'm going to show you what plugins I use on my vocals and how they're being used. Alright, so we are in Logic Pro as always. I turned off the limiter. The song's already mastered and everything, but we're going to turn that off so that you guys can better hear the dynamics of the track, and we're going to focus more on the chorus, the second chorus in particular, because down here there's a lot of really cool harmony things going on, and I'll show you the plugins that I use for that. And then up here there's a lot of cool instrumentation, so I'm going to have you guys listen to just this part already mixed first, and then we'll break down everything that's going on.
Honestly, I'm scared, 'cause my heart, it cries for you, and oh, my heart knows what love can do.
Alright, so that's the gist of the chorus. That's where everything really comes together, and there's a lot of really cool vocal harmonies going on, so let me just solo that out and show you that.
'Cause oh, my heart, it cries for you, and oh, my heart knows what love can do.
So just a quick side note, this has nothing to do with plugins, but if you do want to make a hook sound really full, adding vocal harmonies is a great way to do that because it creates like a chord-like effect. Basically, you're creating chords out of your voice, and if you think of a single note versus a group of notes together, which is a chord or, you know, a triad, then you obviously have a lot more fullness in a chord versus a single note. So it's just something to keep in mind if you're working on a hook. Might be something you want to try out. But anyways, let's jump right into the lead vocal. I'm going to solo it out and we'll listen to that, and then I'll break down which plugins I'm using.
'Cause oh, my heart, it cries for you, and oh, my heart knows what love can do.
Okay, so you guys can obviously hear that there is some reverb going on, there is some delay going on, but we're going to focus mainly on EQ and compression first. Also, I do use Autotune, so if you go over here, I just have this set to classic and have the retune speed at 80. I don't actually go into the graph and correct any of the notes. I just try to sing it well and then have Autotune do its job. I just like that particular sound on my vocals. You don't necessarily need to have it, but I'll let you listen with it and without it.
'Cause oh, my heart, it cries for you. 'Cause oh, my heart, it cries for you.
So it's just correcting some notes. I actually sang the other hooks better, to be honest with you, now that I am taking Autotune off.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
So you can see that hook is obviously saying a lot better, but with Autotune it can actually pull the notes up to where they have to be, and I don't really have to do all that much to it. So the first thing I always do is go in with an EQ, and I roll off the low end, and I don't really do too much. I just go to certain spots that I think are harsh, and 2K, 3K kind of seems to be a harsh spot. Also, if you're trying to get muddiness out of it, I'm recording with a Neumann TLM 103, and I didn't think that it was all that muddy, so I didn't do much deductive EQ. Although I did in the next plugin. So anyway, I rolled off some at 2K. I just kind of have a dip going on here. Over here, I rolled this off to 15K, so I'm actually taking out some of the top end because I don't like things to be too clean with my vocals. I actually like to dirty it up a little bit because when things are too clean, they're boring and there's really no excitement going on. So this gives it a different character, a different sound. So I just like how this works. So let me take all this off and you guys listen to what it sounds like with nothing. It really does not sound all that good.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
Obviously a dramatic difference. You guys actually might have good vocal takes and you might convince yourself that it's not a good vocal take based on how it sounds in Logic. But if you are mixing it well, then you're going to really get the most out of your vocal take and you're going to really hear how you actually sound. So the next plugin, I actually made a whole video, which I'll put a card up above if you want to check that out. The Manley Voxbox. I love this plugin for my particular voice because it rounds it out, it adds fullness to it, and it makes the vocal really smooth. And it also adds an analog character to it because this is an emulation made by Universal Audio. They do a lot of great stuff. So I'll show you what's going on with this. Over here on the right, you got EQ, you have compression over here, you have your input gain, your output. You have a gain setting right here, and you can switch the polarity. You have a DeEsser, compressor, I think I already said. So you really have a lot going on here. But mainly what I use this for is the character. Over here, I'm not doing anything with the low end. I'm rolling off a little bit around 200. And then over on the right, I'm boosting the crap out of 16K because I wanted some of the top end that I sort of lost when rolling off, which may seem counterintuitive, but at the same time, it does make a difference. Over here, I'm not doing anything with the DeEsser, and right here, I'm not doing anything with the compressor, actually. I'm bypassing that because I like to use a C1 compressor from Waves. So this is what it sounds like with the Manley Voxbox.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
Without it.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
Next thing, like I said, C1 compressor. So I have this at about 14 for the threshold ratio. I use a low ratio. This is 3:1. Quick attack, medium release, and it sounds pretty good to me. I also have some makeup gain right here.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
So it may seem like a subtle difference, but that's what mixing is all about, in my opinion, is a lot of subtle changes happening, and basically this keeps it all in the same zone, that it doesn't get too loud and it doesn't get too quiet. Next, I use the VEQ. This is a Waves plugin, and this I'm pretty much boosting around 10K. I already boosted around 16, and I am boosting that 3.8 dB, and that's it. I'm actually not doing anything else over here. This is how that sounds together.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you.
Now this right here is stock from Logic. This is a distortion plugin, and it's a clip distortion, and what it does is add saturation, distortion, saturation, whatever you want to call it. That's up to you. I have the mix set to about 35, and I think this adds a lot of character.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart.
Very subtle difference, but it makes a difference. I'm telling you, all these subtle little things. And to me, adding distortion, I actually got that from listening to the White Stripes, because Jack White always uses distortion. There's also a Jim Croce record where he uses distortion, and I just always have loved that sound. So I like to subtly add it in, and it does sort of trick the listener into thinking like there's more going on, or there's some sense of urgency, and where it's the hook and there's a lot of energy, that's exactly what I want. So I really like how this added character to the vocal. And then, like I said, I didn't have the DeEsser on the Voxbox, so I'm running it into a Waves DeEsser. The frequency is about 5500 for male vocals. That's roughly what it's going to be most of the time, but you can play with that on your own vocal. I don't think it actually matters all that much, as long as it's kind of in that zone. This is going to kind of kill off some of the S's that are harsh. So that's sort of keeping it in check and taming it, almost similar to how a compressor would in a way, because it's squashing that particular frequency range so that it's not harsh. And that's actually it for the actual vocal chain itself without all the effects and stuff. And you can see over here, it's really, I'm not going that crazy with the effects either. So listen to that in context with the song.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do. And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
Okay, so obviously that makes a huge difference. Like I said, I should probably just do a separate video on vocal harmony because it makes all the difference in the world with making full choruses. But let's jump back into the hook. I just wanted to give you guys some context before I move forward, and that's not with any effects on, so there's no delay or reverb on what I just showed you. Okay, so the first thing I'm using is a delay, and this is Replika by Native Instruments, and this is a really cool delay, and you have a lot of different options. I actually went to this preset Boys with a Z because they're cool, and swapped this to Vintage Digital, and this is an 1/8 delay right here, so I'll let you listen to that.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
So to me, that kind of brings me back to like almost like the 80s or something, and with the Rhodes piano happening, it's just like it almost gives me like a corny, cheesy 80s vibe, and that's actually really what I wanted, especially where it goes, knows what love can do, because those are 7th chords, and it just kind of gives it this sort of corny 80s sort of vibe. But anyway, I really like how that sounds. I actually took the cutoff and rolled it over here, and what that does is kind of takes all the top end off of the delay itself, so it's not super sharp. It's not actually delaying what the actual hook is in the plugins I already used. It's rolling all that off, so I really like that sound. The next plugin I use is Echoboy, and this is a Soundtoys plugin, and I really like this plugin. I actually started using this plugin after I watched a Mixed with Ali tutorial. He was mixing like Kendrick's vocals or something. I thought that was really cool, the way that he used this, and I pretty much went to a preset because I'm a preset person. Just make sure the mix is all the way on wet if you're using this as sends. When you have 2 delays, it really makes it sound full and sort of this spacey sort of effect, so I really like that.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
So Replika is doing the main thing, but this is sort of adding this little longer feedback over here, and it's just kind of dragging it out a little bit. So the next plugin I'm using is the Reel ADT. This is like a Beatle-ish sort of plugin, and it pretty much creates artificial double tracking. So it's as if there were 2 vocals happening instead of 1, and I thought that this sounded really cool. Again, rock and heavy and phasey stereo, so you can see what I'm going for is exactly that sort of 70s, 80s sort of sound, and I thought it sounded really cool.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
Again, very, very subtle, but when you hear me exaggerate that, you can hear what it's doing. Then I kind of drag it back and blend it right in. And again, a very subtle thing that adds all the difference. And then I'm using a TrueVerb. This is a Waves plugin. I'm only using 1 reverb. A lot of times I'll use more than 1 reverb, but I guess in this particular scenario I'm not, because the backing vocals I'm actually using reverb on too.
And oh, my my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
This over here is a preset that I'm using and then tweaked a little bit just to make it sound a little bit bigger than it was.
And oh, my heart, it cries for you. And oh, my heart knows what love can do.
Alright guys, I don't want this video to go too long, so I'm going to cut this video short, and I'm going to do a separate video on the backing vocals for this song, because that's going to take me a little while to explain everything that's going on with it, and I feel like it really deserves its own video. So we're going to keep this short. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. We're going to be making more videos like this, and soon we're going to be dropping music, but I want to sort of put together 7 to 10 songs for like an album and then individually release them. I think that's just a smarter way to do it nowadays. So if you guys got something out of this, please like the video. I really appreciate it, and we will talk soon. See you later.
'Cause oh